Well, for that, we're going to have to go all the way back to picks and bans. Game 2 is now ready. Let's see how that one goes. So you called a Mercury or a Circuit this time round for Skeeledon in the jungle?
It's gods that he's been playing very consistently, whether it's in SPL or whether it's ranked. He leans on those gods earlier on. So I definitely want to, especially with the new introduction of speed buff, why not go these high mobility gods?
Well, let's find out. Randozos with the first ban available to themselves. Last time round, they took a couple of shots here or there. There was nothing super special, I want to say, in terms of their ban strategy.
There was a little bit of a ban strategy where they tried to ban out the hunters coming out of Metyankey in the third, fourth. However, they didn't care. They had the Sobek, they had the Artemis, and they had the aggression and the kills.
Well, they ban away the Sobek this time round, Randozos. They will take Raijin off the board as well, so it says to me that Randozos are really highly rated Raijin, either picking themselves or banning it away.
Well, if you look at the way they executed their early game strategy, getting both mid-Harpies, allowing the Raijin to hit level 3, Soulstone Purple Pot with the Fenrir red pot as well, getting that early kill was really important for their strat.
It's a good point. Raijin did get that first blood in the last game, so that off the table. Where will we see Randozos go to now? Janus potentially for Adoro here? It's
very possible. Isis is still open. They're going to lean towards the Soul. It was banned away the last game, I believe.
Yeah. And Soul for the most part in the mid lane, very safe, difficult to gank, can farm significantly well from safety. It's very difficult to pick her off.
Also, the flex potential, you don't know if that's middle, you don't know if that's going to be in the hunter position. We haven't seen Soul being played in the solo lane, but that's another possibility. Janus going to get locked in for Hurriwind yet again.
Yeah, Hurriwind, go back to that one. He had a good game towards the end. You saw the last double kill of that game 1 go his way. And now SoaR have an option. Well, Kuang was banned last game from Randozos. Will we see the potential of Homiefe look for that?
It's possible, unless Randozos pick up Kuang here to try to counteract the Khepri pick coming out of SoaR. And this is why we saw the Sobek the first game, because the Khepri was banned, and now that the fact that the Sobek's banned, they're going to lean on the Khepri here for Jigz.
Does Kuang get hurt this meta with the speed buff coming back?
Not necessarily. You're still really mobile with the water illusion. You don't know where he went, especially with the speed buff. While you're invisible, you're going to be allowed to escape even faster. I just like the Janus pick in general because of the jungle changes.
Hey, you called it. You expected this could be a possibility with Khepri being locked in for SoaR, going over to Jigz. Kuang has been taken for Skeeledon. Alongside, once again, we're going to see the Athena pick, which they've gone to a lot this season.
It's a win-win situation for Mendoza to pick out Kuang. 1, you take it away from Homiefe, and 2, you counter the Khepri, the ultimate from Khepri. Athena is always a safe pick, and especially when you pair that up with the Soul. Late game, when you get Athena taunted into the Soul Stellar Burst, that's going to do a lot of damage.
Well, you mentioned late game, there's a Xbalanque locked in as well. Very, very strong in the later stages of the game. The extra range you can also get from Darkest of Nights available, but Apollo taken off.
So one strategy that enemy did against SoaR was the Xbalanque Janus all-in combo, and this could be something that SoaR recognized of how effective it was against them. They actually banned it the second game, and that said, the Xbalanque, they banned this. And so now SoaR is going to play the Xbalanque and Janus. We're going to see how, if they execute this kind of all-in the strategy in the jungle.
Well, Apollo, Hoyi taken away from Randozos. Last ban, probably going to be a jungler here aimed towards Homiefe. What would you look at banning away here?
There's a lot of options.
Hunbats, maybe?
Hunbats, Circuit, Mercury.
You mentioned a lot about Circuit and Mercury. We've still not seen one today.
The mobility is
we've
there.
Circuit,
I mean, it's going to be... Fenrir is open as well if they want to do some damage.
Well, there's Kali from Randozos. They don't want to see Homiefe on that.
Kali Khepri would be very annoying. That was a really solid ban. Yeah,
that's a good point. You can just continue chasing and double ults. Fenrir will be what Homiefe heads to this time round. Randozos looking for a solo laner and a hunter. I'm definitely going to call this Soul mid now just because of the fact of how many magical they have on this team.
I would like to see an Honor coming out of Randozos. That would be really solid. You have the CC immunity inside the jungle. If you put the obelisk up, that might potentially slow some people down, preventing them from escaping, catching somebody against the wall. Athena Medusa, however, is a really good wombo combo as well.
Athena Medusa. And then we've also got in the solo lane now Jing 10, do you reckon, for Baskin? Last pick, Jing 10.
No, I expect them to lean more towards a warrior. It didn't really work out that last game for Randozos to Xing Chen. Once you get out-pressured in the solo lane, you just basically lose the rest of your jungle. So Baskin leaning towards the Vamana. You can't really go wrong. You're not going to lose lane pressure with Vamana.
You talk about pressure. Raven is what his opponent is here. Raven very, very strong in the early stages of the game. So not a surprise to see him maybe move away from that. Vamana is the final pick for SoaR. Game 1 went the way of SoaR. Game 2, will it be the same? Let's find out. We're are in game once again, following along Skeeledon, who had a pretty good game on the Fenrir in the early stages, let's be honest, but what will the difference be this time around on the Kuang? Do we expect to see the same start from Randozos here? Left Harpies?
It's possible. However, we do have the Medusa being played in the middle by Aduro, and it's going to be in the Soul in the Hunter position, so this could be some early aggression as well. Medusa providing better lane control in the earlier stages of the game, especially when you do go throwing daggers, so we could see some aggression.
Okay, well, let's keep an eye on that one. Because Left Harpies last game went to Randozos. Meanwhile, SoaR did their own usual version we've seen in Season 3 of back Harpies red buff into the boss.
And right away, SoaR adapting their strategy, putting up 2 early wards aggressively just to see how Randozos start. If Randozos start left side mid Harpies, SoaR needs to recognize that. They see it, and then they're not going to go there, obviously, because it's down. So they're going to go right side mid Harpies, try to contest 2v2 early on, and they're not wasting their time anywhere.
And you can see both the solo laners actually quite happy not to even look at hitting each other. It's almost worthless at this stage. And at the same time, you know, they both know neither of them are doing these mid-harpies at the beginning of the game. So everybody going to start at original buffs. But once again, SoaR going blue speed.
I like this opening because it allows Homie to go into the middle lane to meet up with Hurriwind, and everything is pretty much straight standard kosher. The dual lane position for Randozos, they're starting normal as well. It's going to be red to boars to lane. Looks like the Athena Soul going to be able to out-pressure SoaR.
We'll see how that works out for them, because obviously the blue have been taken here by Skeeledon and Whalrus. When do those fire imps actually spawn? Is it a few seconds?
45 seconds is when the fire imps spawn.
So is it a little bit too early to even go speed blue fire imps instead?
No, you would have to do speed blue, solo lane, back to fire imps, back to middle or
Leftsyndrome's in trouble again early. Xbalanque going to go all in looking for the kill. Not enough for Metyankey. The last auto is enough, however, and he will pick it up. Nice pick up for SoaR again in the jungle now. Aduro pressured out from the Randozos early on by the Janus Fenrir combo. We may see another kill. Oh, Skeeledon in a lot of trouble. The illusion will keep him alive.
So much pressure out of SoaR already. Xbalanque getting a first stack, getting that 5 physical power before the fire imps even spawns. And right away, both of the middle and jungle for Randozos is getting pressured so hard now they can't even contest the left side mid Harpies. Huge advantage to SoaR.
Well, left Harpies are available, and you can see SoaR swung round to them now with Hurriwind, Hurriwind and Homiefe in tow. Skeeledon and Aduro just have to farm up under the tower. They're going to have to retreat for their own back Harpies.
And before they even started the left side mid Harpies, they wanted to see if they could still get a kill. If anybody even stepped a single inch out of position, Homiefe was waiting to pounce on them.
And that's exactly what they did. They didn't find a kill, though. It was that kill went over to Metyankey with the help of Khepri. And they're looking to invade the jungle at the moment. Balls not available just yet from to take. They just poke the head around the corner. But SoaR, however, they will overall find something in the jungle to take these back Harpies on the left, too.
They're getting so many camps so far. They're electing to leave one of those little Harpies up so that way the big one doesn't respawn until the full camp. That is a little mean. In competitive, it's a very good competitive advantage to do. On the opposite side of things, you're kind of like, oh man.
Well, you saw Skeeledon actually realize what was going on, so goes into the enemy jungle to help himself gain a little bit more experience by taking their own back Harpies. But he's swinging around through minions here and taking a lot of poke for free. Has to illusion. Gets hit in place, though, from Skeeledon. He does that blind and finds the pick.
Beautiful jump. He recognized the distance. He's played a lot of Kuang Homiefe, so he knows exactly how far you go after you use the water illusion. Jumping, finding the stun, getting a second kill for SoaR, and controlling the jungle the way that they are. Hitting level 5 Homiefe. He's looking to potentially gank the Ravana.
Well, let's see if he does end up over here. Actually going to return to base here. Baskin clearly wasn't too interested in trying to fight that one. With him being only half health for the time being. They're looking at the fire imps, which are due to respawn. And you said these equate to like 90 gold total?
90 gold total, that's correct.
Awesome. So, nice little bit of money for the pocket.
Nice change for Homiefe. Baskin getting about half of that.
And so he's going to return to lane again, farm this wave out with the Vamana while Ravana just sits under the tower patiently between the two. And all good things for SoaR so far.
So far. And when you're Ravana in the soul lane and you're not able to bully the enemy soul laner, you kind of wasted a pick in this situation because you're not going to be able to transition in teamfights as well as a Vamana will. So right now, Baskin in a huge favor, getting his blue buff right away. Speed buff being started for Randozos. Skeeledon's still level 4, while Homie's level 6, just now hitting level 5.
Just hitting level 5, but you saw Homiefe start with the blue, now going to do the speed buff himself, so they'll have speed about the same sort of time here. These two junglers, red buffs, were just taken by the teams. Actually, one was given to Meerkat from the Randozos. They gave it to the solo, not to the Medusa.
And after the solo lane push, the Ravana actually has to sacrifice the blue buff experience and gold just to make sure he doesn't lose anything under the tower. SoaR picking up the right side mid Harpies. They know the difference in between the rights and the left. They're going to be able to put pressure middle and then slowly work their way towards left mid Harpies.
Just continue controlling this game, SoaR. Once again, they get an early kill or two, and they just find the wind in the jungle, which has worked out so well for them. Left Harpies will be able, but you can already see that SoaR aware of it, going to back to base immediately, but I don't think they'll be in time this time. Randozos are already here.
And Baskin very confident. He's going to proxy between the tier 1 and the tier 2 solo lane tower, or actually not going to. He's going to play a little bit more cautiously. He did dash towards the jungle side looking to do it, but he's a little bit afraid of the outquang. He's not that far ahead of Vamana.
Well, trade between the two solo laners there again as Baskin continues to farm up. I believe Vamana did get a little bit of a change this patch as well, where we saw his Umbrella Rang does a little bit more damage.
So they nerfed the scaling on the second ability by 20%. However, they increased the scaling of the Umbrella Ring by 10%. So it all equates at the end if you hit twice.
If you land the skill shots, you'll get more out of it, is generally the thought process there.
Pretty much.
Makes sense. 4.5 minutes in, so just waiting for an opportunity now. And what do you expect from like ganks? I expected to see more jungler rotations to solo and duo, but it seems like everybody's still sitting mid lane.
There is a strategy potential where you do speed to blue to solo imps and then gank again on the solo side of level 3. That hasn't been a strategy done today, but that is open for a team to figure that out.
Figure it out indeed. As mid lane, Jigz under a bit of pressure, going to abduct, but get hit by a Petrify from Adora. Adora now out of mana as Jigz escapes. Skeeledon, however, does not, because Homiefe was on point with the Fenrir. Now Hurriwind under pressure here from Meerkat, who's made a rotation deep in as Homiefe uses Ragnarok to force Adora out of the fight. Meerkat on his own here, trying to make plays, and instead he finds himself a free trip back to base.
That was a 3v1 Meerkat trying to find the kill. Jigz able to bail out Hurriwind at the last second. Very good patience. Jigz is very on point with his Khepri ultimates. I really like the positioning that he does. He saves his dashes sometimes to make sure that he can keep the distance between the enemy even further as they revive. And that's why he got banned out the first game, the Khepri, and then leaning towards the Sobek was very successful for him as well. And then that gets banned, and it's back to the Khepri. So it's just like a little back and forth.
Benefit of Khepri. Metyankey got out of position here. Doesn't recognize Skeeledon's behind him. He will now, however, but he's not much he can really do as he gets torn. Has to purify and use Rising Jaguar, but Skeeledon going to slow him down. Almost an execute range. Is an execute range, I should say, and does get executed. 4-1. Randozos find their first kill this game.
Very important kill, especially to go on Skeeledon. When you're behind in the jungle, especially the jungle controlling the pace of the game, you can't fall behind the jungle. It's just unacceptable if you want your team to win. So finding that kill was very important.
Very important. You actually saw, we're considering doing Golf Fury for a second, but saw their health bars and played it safe in the end, and Metyankey paid the price in the end from overextending. However, talking about overextending, Baskin is in the enemy territory right now on this Vamana, looking to steal away the speed buff. Already with him now is Homiefe, and so the invades are starting to work out for SoaR.
And whenever your jungler doesn't have speed buff, that you're not going to have the amount of pressure that you want to do. You're doing one camp, you're trying to ping pong between lanes. You're not as fast as you normally expect it to be. We do have a potential blue buff, not going actually it did.
Whalrus got it. Whalrus got his own blue buff there. He realized that he was still waiting around potentially, so he held his abilities and he throws off the fireworks in celebration at getting his own blue.
You're very happy to get your own blue buff when it's getting invaded as a solo laner.
Do you use fireworks all the time when you get invaded?
I use the RIP fireworks, the RIP, RIP.
Rest in pieces, but through space and time does connect with Adoro, who lacerates away, but going to be chased down by Homiefe, who cleans it up with a brutalize. Now he's looking for the pick on Skeeledon as well, but Skeeledon purifies the Ragnarok. Now Jigz though going to abduct Skeeledon and allow Hurriwind to clean him up with the unstable vortex. Another 2 quick kills the way of SoaR.
And with those 2 free kills, they're going to look to do the Gold Fury. Metyankey already starting it. Gold Fury at about half health, 7, close to 8-minute mark. Can Meerkat find the steal?
He goes in with 4. This time he's got a support with him in Leftsyndrome, but Gold Fury goes the way of SoaR Gaming. Meerkat still trying to find a pick here, but Disapparate now on cooldown means he's in an awkward spot. Brutalized from Homiefe comes out, allowing the pickup of Metyankey to get that kill, and that puts Metyankey at 3 stacks on his passive.
That's really important to have those 3 stacks. 15 physical power going his way. Unfortunately for Homiefe, the ultimate from Jigz was used on himself. Jigz didn't expect Homiefe to go back into the Soul. A little bit of miscommunication there, but still, at the end of the day, when you're getting more stacks on the Xbalanque, everything is worth.
Everything's worth. Well, let's go to the graphs and see how much worth that really was. 3,000 gold lead now for SoaR, 4,500 experiences with tuning with Whalrus here. But it seems to be the tale of last game once again for SoaR. They're just winning these small fights, and the skirmishes early on are allowing them to control the game.
When you take control of these mid harpies the way SoaR has been doing, when you're invading the speed buff, they're almost getting the blue buff, getting these free early kills.
What's more important here, the mid harpies or the speed buff invades?
Well, speed buff invade is more important because denying that mobility to the enemy jungler is huge.
But keeping every single mid harpy on rotation in your favor, is that not worth more than the speed?
It's worth more in gold if you get both mid harpies. However, there's that undetermined value of mobility from the enemy jungler. Whenever you have an Kuang trying to find plays, and if he's slower, he's not going to be able to make the plays, right? And then if you have two members on your own team to have speed, like let's say you give the speed buff to Baskin, and then you get your own speed buff onto Homiefe, they're able to do stuff. Baskin's able to push the lane and then rotate quicker.
Well, now they're going to look at those red buff, which is currently down at the moment, not even flashing just yet for SoaR, so they're going to have to give that invasion up for the time being. They'll swing back to mid lane one more time as Leftsyndrome now turns up on the Athena, which forces them to dissuade, but Meerkat going very aggressive up against Metyankey. He's going to get punished now because through space and time has been fired. Jigz has arrived alongside him, and Hurriwind should be able to help combine, but he's doing a good job of surviving for now. Meerkat may even trade it out. Meerkat get soloed against three of you by Meerkat.
And that's going to be on Reddit later on.
Was that Metyankey's fault?
Okay, so no, it wasn't his fault. He wanted that 4-stack. That was his mentality.
Right.
He really wanted that 4-stack. A little bit of greed, granted, but in this situation, when you're this far ahead, it's not the end of the world to trade 1-for-1.
Well, speed buff is available, and Baskin's once again ram down the right-hand side, looking to steal it away. Homiefe, sorry, Skeeledon recognizing that on the Kuang is like, I'm just going to have to go mid, guys, because they're just going to take it, unless Whalrus can make a stand with Athena. Speed buff gets pulled by SoaR, forced to reset as Ragnarok used him, and looking for the pick onto Skeeledon, who came in, but Petrify will keep him at bay. Petrify, however, going off, forces the unstable Vortex by Adoro, and both Baskin and him get low, but Meditate comes out, Big Baby pulls the speed buff, still being contested by everybody on these teams. Metyankey now on his way on the Xbalanque. Adoro looking for Homiefe, only the last shot going to connect there. Pull was used, and still the fight continuing, but slowly but surely Randozos getting lower, but they will get a kill onto Baskin.
Skeeledon finally finds the kill onto Baskin. His ultimate is down. Jigz going to have to be very careful using the ultimate on himself as Skeeledon comes down. Meerkat takes a spill. Ravana falls as well. Homiefe falling. So far, this is a 2-for-2 situation. Skeeledon and Adoro extremely low as Hurriwind is trying to find the kill.
Skeeledon's just trying to dance around with the illusion, but Metyankey still, while going off in the mid lane, he came to this fight and picked up a delayed double kill there for himself, and that's 4 kills the way of SoaR.
And that's very important to get that 4th stack onto Metyankey.
5th stack now, he got 2.
5th now, wow.
And
25 extra power for him.
That Doc is a nice that gives him the extra range that he needs to just hit the tower a little bit earlier. Tier 1 will fall in mid lane, and SoaR come out on top of that. To be fair, that fight over the speed buff was a 4v5, where Randozos had 5 members until Metyankey turned up right at the end of it, and then picks up a double.
The key to that fight was the fact that the Vamana ultimate was down initially. Skeeledon takes advantage of it with the early pick. However, they needed to disengage after that. They already got their speed, but they wanted more, consistently more. And as a result, the Metyankey rotation, picking up those 2 kills, getting the tier 1 tower. At the end of the day, when the dust settles, it favors SoaR.
Well, the dust is far from settling. I would say normally at this stage of the game, at 12 minutes in, it's very easy to, expect a team to come back into it. But the way SoaR's playing, it looks very difficult for the Randozos.
They don't give much up in response. Whenever they make aggressive plays, they make sure that Gold Fury is not up. So even if they were to lose, let's say 3 members for 1, the only thing that's going to be jeopardized is potentially the tier 1 of middle or the solo lane. They're not giving up Gold Fury, which is the most important thing.
Well, you mentioned Gold Fury is back available again in just over 20 seconds time left off. He's going to go the way of Randozos here. They're just fighting for farm really right now. You can see the jungler and mid laner from Randozos level 11 and 12 respectively. Their counterparts, however, you can see the difference in it. Hurriwind is 3 levels above Adoro.
Especially when you're a mage 3 levels ahead of a hunter middle, and you have things like the portal and the threshold to your arsenal to allow your teammates to escape. SoaR is in a good spot to get this next Gold Fury that just respawned.
Well, Metyankey wasn't in a good spot just then, but recognized he was in a little bit of danger. 3 men grouping up for the balls means he's going to fall back. But in mid lane, Baskin makes the rotation from the solo lane, trying to pressure Adoro again, who lacerates back to safety. However, when keeping on Leftsyndrome here, you may get potentially plucked into a worse situation and pinched, but Golfy was available and SoaR turned their attention there.
I like what Baskin did. He proxied the wave and then he rotated over, knowing that Golfy is responding. Leftsyndrome coming around the corner, gonna get stunned out and pulled by Homie.
Pulled into the team. He's still alive though, but not for very long. Metyankey gets another stack. And now the Gold Fury is available once again. Meerkat here to zone with a Doro, but they're not very frontline gods here as Meerkat trying to put Poke on with the Stellar Burst. Gold Fury still dropping low. Baskin happy to tank this one up. Protections come out from Jigz, as does the root here. Meerkat, but a good Petrify from a Doro will create space for a second through space and time. They were looking for the hit on a Doro. Portal misses too, but still SoaR continuing to pressure this Gold Fury, and nobody else from Randozos here.
2 members from Randozos did get the tier 1 tower in the solo lane side, trying to squeeze in another tier 2 tower. If they get this tier 2 tower, it will stabilize it for the meantime. However, we do have heavy rotations coming out of Homiefe and Hurriwind on the backside. Looks like they're going to be able to get this tower, but they might lose their lives for it.
Well, let's find out. Unstable Vortex hits both of them. Portal hits onto Whalrus too. Skeeledon already in a world of hurt. Brutalize will finish him off for Homiefe to pick up another kill. Left-hand side though, as they continue chasing Whalrus, you can see the pressure under the tower coming out from SoaR, looking for a pick on Meerkat, forcing the Sanctuary, but he's still keeping the pressure on this side of the map.
I like the aggression that SoaR did in the tier 1 duo side. The purification was down for Meerkat. The pluck was good. However, the Leftsyndrome peels was even better, saving Meerkat's life.
And now back to mid for Adoro as the speed buff taken away by SoaR yet again. They've kept on point since the first speed invade. They've kept on point with it.
It's a consistent strategy that needs to be implored whenever you're ahead. The speed buff is the staple in the new meta now with the reintroduction of it. So as long as you're consistent about invading it, taking away from the enemy jungler, you're putting your team in a good spot to be able to rotate consistently and show up to the team fights before the others.
Whalrus collapsed on by the team of SoaR. Luckily, Syndrome's there with a good taunt through space and time fired off as well. Didn't really hit the mark. But Syndrome's isolated and alone now, but I don't think SoaR want to fully commit onto him just yet, as they're worried about backup being available, and there is the backup. Skeeledon turning up to the fight on the Kuang, and respect shown by SoaR here.
A lot of respect. SoaR getting poked out a little bit as Jigz is under half health. We do have a Duro using his ultimate just for the slow. Forces the purification out of Hurriwind. He didn't even want to get slowed there.
Yeah, I think the taunt hit as well from Leftsyndrome. If that would have hit into the Petrify, would have been lights out for that young Janus. But in the jungle, Baskin, a little bit isolated here. Very lucky to have that knock up to his name. Otherwise, that was execution time for Skeeledon.
Very aggressive play from Baskin. He's like, no, you're not taking my...
He gets it with the blink as well with the Athena. Nice play coming out from Skeeledon to secure Baskin. But on the back, Homiefe took Whalrus for a wild doge ride. But still, Skeeledon gets a double kill and are keeping Randozos potentially in this one.
Really unfortunate for Baskin. He knew that he was in execute range initially. He thought that the meditation would pull him out of execute range. Unfortunately, it was just barely off the mark. Skeeledon finds the initial kill, finds the second onto Homiefe. Really good. However, on the flip side, we do have Metyankey getting the tier 2 tower in the dual lane. Gonna back, trying to defend this tier 2 in middle.
Yeah, tier 2 in middle. Only 2 creeps here for the moment, but there's enough damage for them to be able to bring this one down quickly. Jigz can't do much alone with Hurriwind so low. The tier 2 will trade, which means the one just taken in middle and the one taken in left are even.
And Randozos has 3 towers up compared to SoaR's 2. Gold lead, 2.4 thousand for SoaR. The experience about 3.6 right now. So at the 16-minute mark, not that big of a lead as it was compared to last game.
But the pace of this totally, like for 16 minutes in, and we've got tier 2 towers down in mid, in right, in left lane. This has been a very quick game.
A lot of action packets, but considering the fact that there's an aggressive Kuang on one side and an aggressive Fenrir on the other, you're going to have this kind of a quick pace game out of both teams.
You say aggression out of everybody, but look at the damage from Hurriwind. That's insane. He's not almost double the damage of the closest person to him, which is Meerkat on the soul.
The problem for Randozos is whenever Through Space and Time comes out, while Darkest of Nights hinders your team, it's hard to dodge it.
Well, everybody's missing on the map from SoaR. Randozos recognizing it. Going to send Whalrus around to see the Fire Giant being done. Darkest of Night shoes. They're looking to try and secure this one. SoaR get the Fire Giant for relatively free. Now they're taking a fight. Skeeledon's looking to execute Jigz and will find it. Meanwhile, though, we did see Homiefe pick up a kill in response. As Skeeledon's still in the air, but all 4 members surrounding each other of the SoaR lineup. What a great little small play that comes out in their favor.
Small play. Skeeledon definitely needs to lean more towards executing Jigz potentially, especially considering the fact that there's no way for him to get out of it.
Well, 4 members of SoaR now have the Fire Giant looking for a tier 2 tower in the right-hand side here. Hurriwind, a little bit off the mark with that portal. I don't think that was the one he was really after, but hey-ho, it's still fine. They're going to chip away at the tower a little bit, but without having Jigz here, they're just going to play it a little bit safe.
Yeah, Jigz would provide that 6th life that they would need. Right now it's a 4v4 situation. However, the Athena could make it to the team fight before the Khepri with her ultimate, so that's something that SoaR has to respect, and that's exactly why they're backing off. They're electing to put a little bit of pressure in the mid lane. Actually, they're rotating over to gold here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be gold here, because you can see Randozos are actually forcing them back, recognizing they were giving up some positional advantage here. Randozos push forward and actually hold off any sort of aggression coming out from SoaR. They're just waiting for Jigz to turn back up, and with that, I guess they're going to head to the gold here and take that for free, because Randozos probably have to respect that.
That's the next objective for SoaR. They need to get something out of this Fire Giant. 4 members with SoaR having Fire Giant, it's going to be relatively easy for them to get Gold Fury uncontested. However, the tier 2 tower might be a different story. Randozos are not out of it right now. Their team fight is very strong. They have a lot of bursts coming out of the Medusa, the Soul, in which could potentially put somebody in execute range for Skeeledon.
Well, 2 members are here to try and look at defending here. We can see Leftsyndrome has turned up with the support of Meerkat on the Soul, which forces a reset from SoaR, surprisingly enough. They didn't have 2 members with them because they were worried Skeeledon on the right was looking to split push for the Phoenix.
Yeah, they didn't have the vision. They had a little bit of aggressive warding positioning from SoaR, but they didn't see everybody on the map, so they respected that.
This is good from SoaR, no, sorry, from Randozos. They're delaying this Fire Giant of actually getting them anything. A Gold Fury after, you know, most of the Fire Giants worn off, it's not so bad.
In a 5v5 situation, Randozos wouldn't be able to defend the Gold Fury at all, especially they don't have the safety net of their towers to fall back into, so they're just respecting that. SoaR didn't have all 5 members, so they basically backed off.
Well, right now, they can see 4 members in mid lane. You can see Baskin actually in the jungle for SoaR, just taking that speed buff down for himself, more than likely. Homiefe still has the 1 from Randozos jungle. So now they're going to meet up around here and expect to see some potential split push or pick in the jungle here.
A lot of Fire Giant timer was worn off. Only about 1 minute and 20 seconds remain on their buff. They're looking to put pressure on the solo tier 2 tower. A lot of members from Randozos are here. Only Whalrus, however, looks like they're giving it up.
Adoro and Meerkat both were in mid lane and in the jungle, so they were able to be involved in that one. So far, SoaR with this Fire Giant have taken a tier 2 tower and the Gold Fury.
And what SoaR does really well is they try to spread the enemy thin. They'll push middle, they'll push the other side lane that they're trying to lean pressure on, basically spreading out the opposition so that they can take advantage of one.
Well, Baskin with speed buff and the threshold, you just saw how fast those little legs can go on the side of Vamana. Minion wave comes in, Stellar Burst going to try and clear some of them out, but engage hard with the through space and time goes Hurriwind and Baskin to the backside, trying to keep them all busy. Is still on the front side. You can see Whalrus trying to create a zone, but the tower will still fall in mid, and SoaR are quite happy to disengage.
They saw Skeeledon was coming around the side. Hurriwind positioning himself beautifully, playing all the way in the back. He did not want to get executed by the Kuang. They get the tier 2 tower. They're going to reset as the Fire Giant is taken away from them in about 18 seconds.
Yeah, so in the end, Randozos is going to get their first speed, well, one of the first speed buffs in the last few rotations of it on to Skeeledon on the Kuang once again. So next fight will be over the Fire Giant more than likely. Do you want to see any split push come out from SoaR here while they wait for the Fire Giant to spawn?
If they were to split push, the only person that would be available to do that is the Baskin, Vamana. You have the teleport available to you. You're extremely tanky, having Mantle of Discord, and the speed as well from the Winged Blade. So it's a possible strategy that they could employ.
Well, it looks like we may see a Wind Demon this game. Metyankey working towards it right now, almost at completion. When you do crit, take into account, you're going to get a lovely movement speed and an attack speed increase, which I don't think any hunter is going to really be looking to pass up this season.
Especially when you have 6 stacks on Xbalanque, getting that extra power. We do have Baskin diving.
Oh, well, Adoro just uses Lacerate through space and time off the mark, but it allows the whole team of SoaR to come down like a train looking for the pick on Adoro, and they will find it. The snake is dead. Athena is trying to cover the option now and try to keep them at bay, but with 5 members of SoaR against 4, you can see around the back that Whalrus is going to be here, but I don't think they're going to stop them getting this Phoenix, as Meerkat now pressured Foster Sanctuary as well.
Whalrus trying to do whatever he can to get people off of his middle Phoenix, but with Darkest of Nights used, it doesn't look. Oh, we
Phoenix
do have
is still up though. Good top from Syndrome will keep the Phoenix alive for now, but the boys of SoaR all focusing it down, realizing that's what they need from this one, and then they get away from danger. Odoro gets picked, and it allows SoaR an opportunity.
5v4 power play, allowing SoaR to utilize the strategy. Whalrus going to use his ultimate to avoid Homiefe's Ragnarok.
That was a good little play from him. Good taunt again from Sympathy, but he's getting bursted very heavily. He's only level 15. The shell comes out, but still Baskin will get credit for the kill. Meerkat, however, answers back to the damage dealer that is Metyankey. Meerkat finding that kill forces SoaR back.
And that's a huge pickup because now Aduro responds, so now Randozos has a Hunter, SoaR does not. They're not able to do Fire Giant in this 4v4 situation, and this delays the game even further because Randozos being this far behind.
Cheeky round the corner. Meerkat's going to say hello. No, they won't through space and time. They connect with one target, but it's not enough for the kill as Meerkat actually does get chased down as Aduro falls to Baskin in the back. The bait round the jungle corner works out well. They find 2 kills for Baskin.
The little peekaboo strategy by SoaR, I like it, using through space and time. Even though it was only one little wall, that was a good communication play. Trusting the calls is definitely important for an SPL level team, and finding these 2 picks is going to open up Fire Giant.
I think that was also because Hurriwind had his ultimate up. He's done very well this game, undying, so his build so far advanced. They recognize how much damage his combo could potentially do if they connect it, and they ended up cleaning up just at the right time. Luckily enough, though, Whalrus, they respected him enough not to go straight for the Fire Giant here.
And the thing was, the Janus also has a little bit of cooldown reduction, so they're not afraid to take the potential risk in using this ultimate. They knew that there weren't 4 members around the corner for Randozos. They knew at most it was going to be about 2, so it was about a 4v2 play. Good calculated, aggressive play from SoaR.
Good calculated aggressive play, and can they continue that is the question, because at the moment it looks like it's all good. Phoenix is down for a good little while as Randozos is going to take their speed buff here, and SoaR still looking to try and push themselves onto the #1 spot in North America, and this is a good telltale sign that they're still looking good with the meta changes.
Right now they're 12-5. If they were to close this one out, they would be 13-5, which ties them with Enemy, I believe.
No, I just call it meta changes, but has the meta changed yet? Really?
With speed buff, yeah, there's a
lot
of changes.
It doesn't look like it to me. We're still seeing a lot of the jungle mid together with the support still. We're not seeing too many
different teams are
rotations
going to do different things. We saw DJ Pernicus playing the
That's
Circat, the
true.
Bastet doing a lot of aggressive speed buff invades. We didn't see this many blue buff invades before the speed buff in week number 7.
Good call.
Speed buff is being a highly contested point
And
in
mid
week number
harpies
7.
seem a little bit more important this time round than what they.
If you can control both mid harpies, that's going to put you ahead. But in the mid game, if you take away speed buff, that puts the enemy jungle even further behind.
I'll tell you what, games so far this season, at least with these first 2 sets of today, they do seem a little bit quicker in times of when we see real aggression of Phoenixes going down. 25 minutes in, we've already seen a Fire Giant and a Phoenix fall for the side of SoaR, and with the Fire Giant now available again, SoaR ready to siege up, and Randozos with Whalrus on that Ravana, and the Athena by Leftsyndrome looking to try and defend this one as the rest of the team still hunting for farm.
And speaking of early games, like the last set specifically, we saw early games out of the Eager Allegiance game. It could potentially topsy-turvy one side or the other if you control both speed buffs.
You control the game. Fire Giant has been pulled, only for a second though, by SoaR. They were trying to bring in Randozos, and you can see by their position, they're happy to take an engagement at the moment with the lead they have. Most of the members going to group up on the right from Randozos. So as Fire Giant pulled again, Metyankey, with the brunt of the damage being hit onto him, does force the reset again as they're trying to bring Randozos into a position to kill him.
And this is something that they can consistently do. They have the mobility from the Janus Threshold, the Wind Demon from Xbalanque. They can easily kite this Fire Giant, and they're trying to lure Randozos in.
Well, they're not going to look to end this one. Baskin now starts to create a bit of a zone. Fire Giant still healthy. His taunt only really hits onto Jigz, who gets bursted pretty heavily, but he's tanky enough to survive for now. Knock up from the Fire Giant, however, is forcing Leftsyndrome to get very, very low. And Leftsyndrome going to jump away, but the Brutize and the leap from Homiefe was on absolute point. He gets 1 kill. He goes for the other one, but Hurriwind already deleted Leftsyndrome on the back. Whalrus was looking for Metyankey, who's still alive in this fight, and Whalrus has to back away from this. Looks for the heal with the root, not going to find it, as 2 members now chase down Skeeledon. Unstable Vortex connects from Hurriwind, and that dot damage, well, that should be enough for Jigz to claim a life.
And meanwhile, Metyankey trying to find the last kill for the Dia side. With this kill, we do have 2 people pushing down the middle Phoenix that just fell again. Surrender vote is being started. Titan is being pushed. SoaR looking like they're going to close out this set 2-0. Being tied with Enemy at 13-5.
Homiefe at the end of that game, though, that little play that he just came out with there, managing to avoid the Petrify by leaping over it and getting the kill, too.
That cheeky teleport from Baskin. They actually placed a ward inside the fountain, and he teleported there. A little bit of a BM there.
How's that BM to teleport, Tony?
I mean, it is in
You're
the game.
solo lady
Okay,
yourself.
it's in the game.
It's in the game.
It's in the game.
Working as intended then, as always. 2-0, the way of SoaR this time round. Most fans at home, though, wouldn't have been surprised by that result.
I'm not surprised by that
No,
result.
you expected to see it straight off the bat?
11-5 versus 2-14 before the set started.
So, who was the one you'd probably look at from the game of SoaR there? We probably give them MVP or be a focal point to talk about.
I would say Homiefe played really well, definitely with Hurriwind as well, with his portals allowing him. But the invades coming out of Homiefe, the team fight that allowed him to do, we do see Homiefe into the air. This is
you called it right on. The invades, this was around the speed buff area. They were looking to steal it away, and he created a zone for his team to steal that one. And then even you saw that double tap of Skeeledon. Look how low he got off that.
What's more important is that he didn't commit to the kill. He basically let him go and then focused onto the Athena. And look at the tectonic rip. There was nowhere for the Athena to go afterwards.
Yeah, he was just pinned in a corner and then rotates to mid lane here. Does get picked up with the ultimate from Homiefe, but team combines.
And Homiefe just finding more kills consistently, dodging the fourth one with a backstep, really beautifully executed.
But it's the team. It's a team fight as a whole that just seems to be going so well from them. This was a lot of investment onto Baskin here, but the team of SoaR turn up to help him out.
This is where SoaR gets a 3-for-1 under the tier 1 tower. They find 2 kills early on, and they find Whalrus after Homiefe goes up into the sky, preventing him from escaping.
Just a good turnaround from the team as well, recognizing they can still run down and chase down. Whalrus here for the double at the end of it. Hurriwind didn't get the kill for that one.
Even though Homie got the kill there, it was the mobility that the Janus provided for the rest of his team to secure that 3rd kill.
But look at him, he's always around the fight, looking for options to help out his team. The sprint gets popped to allow Baskin room, but Homie's here to protect Jigz more a little bit as well, knowing that they've got Hurriwind coming through the wall there. He allows to set up for the kill.
The burst damage from the Thor double tap, the Janus unstable vortex doing a lot. Also, the way Homiefe positions himself to avoid the Fenrir unchained was really solid.
Really solid play, and the clips just keep going from Homiefe in game 1, and I'm pretty sure we've got clips from game 2 as well, because this guy's, he was on fire the whole time. That was Thor, and then Fenrir, you saw the end of that game, but consistently throughout that one, he was finding opportunities. He found that the leap for me in the early game onto Skeeledon, who illusioned away, and he predicted where he was going to go.
Yeah, Homiefe plays a lot of outquang, so he knows the distance that the water illusion comes out. He recognized the water illusion, and he just jumps on top. In game number 2 replay, we'll see just what we're talking about.
How easy is that to do, though? I mean, how easy is it to find that leap? Which is what we just saw there. How easy is it?
When you're playing the game as long as Homiefe does, both gods, Fenrir and Outquang, you just know the distance. It's like, okay, it's this amount of meters, this amount of time for me to land, this is my timing, boom, executed perfectly.
Now, we mentioned as well as we're looking through this about junglers this patch are going to be very, very important to teams. Homiefe, one of those junglers, and he's gone to Fenrir. So did Skeeledon, to be fair. So Fenrir, I guess, on the rise. You mentioned mobility important and escape important. And that's two things.
That's what the Janus provided for the Fenrir. That was the difference between the two teams, where we had the Raijin game number 1 versus the Janus, and then game number 2 it was the Medusa versus the Janus. So that's something that I really like that SoaR executed. Even though Homiefe played lights out and executed mechanically beautifully, the Janus just set him up for these easy kills and escapes.
You mentioned it. That puts SoaR at 13-5 right now, which ties them up with enemy. Obviously, both these teams have games to play potentially, but we do also have, joining us on the line, that Janus player from the mid lane, Hurriwind. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So talk to us about the changes and how things have adapted for you. It looks like business as usual for you guys, really.
Yeah, a lot of similar. Like you guys mentioned a lot, the speed buff does sort of change things. It sort of mixes around the meta in terms of picks a little bit, but I think the game is still pretty similar as to what it was before.
I like the Janus pickup that you guys had. Now, was this a strategy to allow Homiefe to play aggressive and Metyankey with the Blink Artemis to bail them out, or is this something more because of what enemy did to you guys last week?
Well, I'll tell you personally, I definitely learned a lesson about how good Janus is from last week. Chaos did a good job reminding me of that. But yeah, it was definitely, there was some synergy with, like, when you have Artemis who doesn't have escapes, you can give her mobility and, like, get her out of better situations and things. And that was part of the thinking, at least in the first game.
So a lot of people right now, Hurriwind, have you guys as potential top 3, if not top 3 this year. Where do you expect to end up yourselves? Are you expecting top 3, or is it number 1 spot for you, or you're just taking each game as it comes?
I'd say that we're taking each game as it comes. It seems like everyone's changing up their rosters and how they're picking what seems like every day. So we're taking it one game at a time, but I think we can very easily be number 1.
Talk to me about the comms that you guys do when you execute Xbalanque ultimate with your Janus ultimate as well. Is that something also that you kind of picked up from enemy when you banned that second game away from them, or is that something that you have in your arsenal as well?
Well, it's definitely something we have in our arsenal. It is also something that we saw enemy do that we thought was very strong. So I say we did definitely learn a lot from them doing it. But as far as communication goes, it's once you play the game enough, especially with the same 4 other guys, it just sort of comes naturally. That sort of thing.
Fantastic. Do you have any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go, Hurriwind?
Yeah, absolutely. Just shout outs to my teammates for being patient with one another and showing up to practice and bringing their all every day. And shout outs to SoaR for being a superb sponsor.
Shouts to yourself for being a great mid laner. Congratulations on your win, Hurriwind, and you will move on to, well, at least decent in the standings. Top spot for the time being. We'll just see how they look before we continue the rest of the day. Look at that. Tied at first.
Tied at first, Enemy and SoaR at 13 and 5. They got about 10 games each to go. Eager sitting third at 11 and 5. And it's going to be interesting to see how Eager and Luminosity, to see which team is going to be able to secure that number 3 spot for DreamHack. Because I expect Enemy and SoaR to kind of get number 1 and 2.
Well, you mentioned DreamHack, and DreamHack tickets are on sale right now at dreamhack.se. You can find all the information on the website of how to book your tickets there. You'll see 9 teams from around the world competing from the Smite, and obviously the Paladins Founders Tournament will be available as well for your viewing pleasure. But it's not all we have for today, because next up we have Luminosity versus Enemy. Can Enemy reclaim their number 1 spot back away from SoaR today, or will LG have something to say about it? Find out after the break.